Hello, YouTube. Megan Price here. Welcome back to WWIY Women, What Inspires You? Episode 4. Today I'm blessed to have Kelli Smith on my channel. Kelli is a badass RN from BC who I have worked with for several years doing event medicine with. I've learned so much from her and I'm really excited to have you. So welcome, Kelli.
Thank you.
So Kelli, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What are the things in life that make you feel inspired and fulfilled?
I am from North Delta, so kind of lower mainland of BC. So didn't grow up in the city. Um, I'm 47 and I had the typical traditional family upbringing. Um, and I am a nurse. I'm an RN, and people often ask me like, "What made you get into nursing?" And I'm not one of those ones that it was like, "Oh, I always wanted to help people." I kind of knew, like, I kind of had always was fascinated with like medical things, physical things, the body, pregnancy in particular. And so I was like, oh, well, nursing's got like you get to see cool things and you've different work environments. I didn't really want an office environment, and it's got a good job security and lots of options that you can do things with. And so that's where the way that I went. Um, with all of this.
I
So currently I work a few different jobs. So I work part-time in high risk labor and delivery, and I work part-time in a trauma ER. And then now and then I'll work in the inner city jail as a nurse. And of course, then Megan and I, on good years when COVID isn't around, my hobby is working as a nurse on the medical teams for what they call mass gathering events. It's just usually large outdoor sporting events or concerts, which is the most fun part.
super
Um,
fun. Oh,
and
fantastic.
when I'm not nursing, I'm like super outdoorsy. I like to be out camping or riding.
Hunting.
Thing. I
That's
love the
so
city life
badass.
too. I love ballet,
Mhm.
um, and museums.
It's
and
so
stuff.
cool. There's so many different sides to you. And I love how it's like one day I'm working in high risk labor and delivery, and the next day I'm hunting. It's like
Yeah.
there is no label for women. You can be whoever you want to be, however many sides that is. And it's just so inspiring. So, Kelli, what's something that kind of fulfills you in life besides maybe work?
So the number one thing that I would say is family for me. I'm very family oriented and I'm very lucky. I've got a brother and a sister, and my sister has 3 children, and my oldest niece has 2 children now.
Oh,
And so I'm a great aunt. And then
wow.
my brother, he's got stepchildren. And really, spending time with family is a huge thing for me. Um, and I don't do it as much as I could or should.
Um,
Everybody's you go so much with work too. You want that downtime, but that is definitely something that fulfills me. I'm pretty close with my family.
Oh, I love that. I think family is so important. And obviously, it doesn't have to be blood, it can be chosen. But
Exactly.
yeah, spending time with the people that you care about is good for our mental health. And especially working during a pandemic, it's great to have that support team. So, sounds like your family is a pretty big support in your life, which is amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
we are. And like you said, I have a chosen family as well. And I get really close to my friends where they become like family. And of course, they end up coming to family events and things like that. And
yeah.
it's those people, my inner circle, that carries me
Hmm.
through my hard times. It truly is.
Oh, well, we're going to get into that a little bit more. But first, Kelli, tell me, who is your biggest inspiration and why?
Yeah, I knew this question was coming. You said it. And I really, I can't say there's one. There's so many. There's so many women, right from like my mother, who is just the sweetest person. She's very hardworking. She'll do anything for anybody to help out. She loves being able to help others. And so that was, I think where I get kind of my nurturing side from, to like I'm in recovery as well, and I met women in recovery that had overcome their active addictions and were living these full lives and had overcome all of the horrible things from their past, and were now giving back and just happy where they were and being safe and productive and healthy. And there were so many of them as well, to like other women that I work with that are incredibly, and this includes you, like incredibly talented and smart, but also like patient and kind, and always trying to like strive for learning more, doing better. Like those are the ones that that really inspire me, that I really look up to, and I kind of really want to emulate when I get into tough situations.
Oh, I love that. It's like there's so many incredible women and people that we know, but to be surrounded, especially by people in healthcare, I find it kind of holds people to a higher standard almost because we have similar interests. And a lot of us want to continue our learning and continue to grow and get better. So that is fantastic. I love those examples. On to the next one. Kelli, what is a hardship that you faced in life and how did you overcome it?
So two things come up when I think about that. One is, like I said, I'm in recovery. So I had a pretty hardcore severe drug addiction for a very short period of my life. I really, like, I used to party, like even in nursing school I really didn't party that much. It was kind of as I graduated nursing school, it's like 23, I really kind of got into the party lifestyle. And what really helped that along is I also have some serious anxiety issues and well-developed anxiety disorder, panic disorder. Starting with a new career in nursing where I felt totally unprepared to be starting as a nurse on my own, I developed this drug addiction. It was in a toxic relationship, horrible toxic relationship, and had this drug addiction. It was horrific, and I felt the stigma and I felt the shame of, you know, being a drug addict. And every day I would always say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to stop. Tomorrow I'm going to stop using. And the next day I would wake up and I'd be like, okay, well, just one to get me going. Just one to get me going through the day. And then it would be like, well, just a second, just I'll do one more just to like get over that hump. And then it would be, I'm just going to use for the rest of the day. And then tomorrow I'm going to start. And I remember trying to look for help, and I had this stigma, like, I'm a nurse, I should know better. Like, I look after these people as patients, like I should know better. And really that whole feeling like a bad person. And not that I was doing bad things, but that I was a bad person. And so I actually got caught, my work got involved, I got caught. And luckily, I was very supported by my union and some co-workers, some other nurses, and I went to rehab. And it was sold to me as like a spa, that there was like massage and catering and housekeeping and all this stuff. And it's not what it was like at all. It was very militant and very hard and very regimented.
Gosh.
And it really turned my life around. It truly did. And even before I had faced this horrible drug addiction, I knew that I wanted to be a different person. I wanted to work on things. And so I was really lucky. You know, they tell you in early recovery, you look for a sponsor, which is someone that is living a life that you would like. So they kind of have their shit together, is what it is. And I was so lucky that there were so many women in recovery that I was like, wow, like I've said, like you've really gotten your stuff together. You've overcome the consequences of your active addiction, whether it be like a criminal or health or family or career. And now they're really thriving. And so I had to go into a 12-based abstinence program, but I am grateful for that. And I do fully believe it. And I'm not religious. I tried to be spiritual. I was very spiritual for a while. And then I had a midlife crisis. It just kind of went away. But I still subscribe to it. I just, you know, when they say look for God or pray to God, I look at my inner circle again. Like, I can only trust myself so much
Mhm.
when I'm making decisions or when I'm thinking. And like one of the biggest things that I learned is like wait 24 hours before you react.
Yeah.
If you really want to, like, when it's someone close to you or it's work involved or whatever, and you want to approach a situation or somebody, like wait 24 hours, try and let your emotions calm down, and then really think about how is this going to create a change, or is this worth the fight, or how am I presenting this? But
Yeah.
also a big thing is what was my part in it? Because usually
Accountability.
there's always been like my part in it. Like I very rarely regret what I say,
Mhm.
but I will often regret how I say it.
Ah.
Uh,
That's always a challenging one.
yeah, and
Mm.
so really, you know, taking accountability, having the insight to take accountability, and that's something that recovery really taught me, and sponsors and other women taught me, was to just kind of take a step back for a little while before you approach the situation.
Yeah, I love that, and congratulations. It's a pretty
20 years.
incredible accomplishment to be sober. Kelly, how many years have you been sober?
20 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's hard to
Congratulations.
believe. It's really, really hard to believe. When I first went into recovery, I thought 6 months. I'll just get
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause 23 years old, all your friends party.
Yeah.
That's what your whole social life is. And I was like, well, okay, well, I'll just keep doing it. But when I turn 30, that's it. I'm gonna party. And then
Yeah.
by then I realized that I just can't get back into it because I know I will lose control and I will totally use it because partially I still have this very strong anxiety disorder. And
Right.
that's the other thing that I would say like I've overcome, and it affects me pretty much every day still, is mental health issues. And I really, really wish that we had somehow the same kind of community support. And I don't mean like community like groups like in a community center. How do I explain this right? So recovery really has a community, so you go to these meetings and you meet these people and they all have the same basic foundation of issues. They
Right.
have very different lives, very different personalities, different ways of approaching things, but they're all fighting their addiction and
Right.
trying to stay abstinence. And I wish we had that for mental health,
Yeah.
where you had a group of people that they had the same mental health struggles and they were trying to live their life in society. And then there was other people who were on different um, legs of their journey, who were in the shit, just trying to make it by day. And then there were ones that had been years of, you know, kind of solace from the acute problems with the mental health, and they can kind of guide you and help inspire you or give you feedback and that support. I really wish that there was that for the mental health, because it can get very, and that's part of the mental illness, is it feels very lonely and like you're the only one
Yes.
and things like
Absolutely.
that.
That's such a terrifying thing if you think about it as well, because anytime we have those thoughts, they're not usually positive. And so being alone or feeling like you're alone, even though typically you're not, it's easy to kind of get sucked down that rabbit hole. So I agree. And I think they are trying to make some, more mental health programs, but it's just been, yeah, a very big challenge, especially
Yeah.
in the last couple of years with COVID and everything. So it's
And
been,
like I said, like I feel like it has to be not led by like a health authority or something like that. I feel like it needs to be like almost like the grassroots things where it is brought in by other people suffering from the issue.
yeah.
And both issues with the mental health and with the addiction, one of the biggest things that has always gotten me through are those other people
Mhm.
that hold me up when I can't stand up for myself.
Yeah.
And I will live, like, I'm not religious, but sometimes when I'm really in a dark, hard spot, knowing that somebody else is praying for me has brought me great relief and
Mhm.
comfort. And just knowing that there's always kind of someone to be there when I fall,
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
beside me. Not that they can always make it all better, but there's just always somebody there.
Yeah, the reassurance, I think, is such a large attribute in order to kind of feel better or make it through these panic attacks or anxiety attacks, however you want to call them. But yeah, it's mental health is definitely a huge topic these days and something that many people struggle with, men and women. But women have had to really fight for a lot of things. And I think with how some things have been going, we look at Texas and some rights are being taken away. It's important that we all band together and kind of support one another. And it's amazing that you found that group of people to be able to do that with. So I'm really proud of you for overcoming those two huge things, because not everybody can say that, but that's an inspiration to women everywhere that it can be done. It absolutely can be. So Kelli, we'll move on to the next question. In your day-to-day life, what are some things that you do to stay inspired or feeling positive?
Um, so some things that I do is trying to reach out to the people in my life. I am a very outgoing, outspoken person. And so I always feel better when I'm telling my shit.
Yeah.
So, and depending on what it is, if it's a mental health issue, or if it's an issue with my weight, or an issue with my relationship or my family, like I always have the certain people that I know I can go to for certain, because they've been there and they understand. And so reaching out to others is a big thing that I do very, very often to keep myself, going day by day. And another thing that I do, and it was taught in the program, is again thinking of what I've done out through during the day and what I could have done better, or what I've done that may have harmed others. And I some might spend too much time on it sometimes, actually, and wishing that I had been different or better in my tone or approach, or tried more to be friendly to the new person at work, things like that. Because I remember, I know what it's like to be new at work and everything, and trying to fit in and things like that.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time just kind of thinking about my own, I can't think of the word, but how I'm affecting people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like a self-reflection type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, and analyzing situations, which I think is so great. And it's really important to have that kind of self-awareness and almost living in a conscious mind instead of just going about the day kind of letting it flow by. It's important. But I think it's important too to cut yourself some slack. And like you said, sometimes you think about it a little bit too much, and it's easy to do that and get stuck in the negativity of what you could have done. But just the pure fact that you're trying to improve every day, and you want to get better and you want to treat people better, or whatever the case may be, I think says a lot about who you are as a person and your resiliency and strength, and the example that you're setting for women everywhere, younger, older, new people, senior nurses, everybody. So way to go, Kelli. um the
The other
next
thing that I do, I would say that, because people always talk about self-care issues, and I had somebody at work ask me, one of the nurses who's newer, she's like, what do you do for self-care? And I'm not one that, like, take a bath, or go take yourself out on a date or whatever. One of the biggest things that I do for self-care is I schedule my life so I'm not really busy very
Yeah.
often. I have a lot of downtime. I need it. I
Mhm.
need to process what's going on. Like, our jobs come with a lot of mental and emotional shit that we see people struggling with their lives, and failures of the system, and how it affects our interactions with them, and just the tragic stuff that happens in society. We are right there with it. And so I really take a lot of time to just process. I take a lot of downtime, and it could be taking naps, it could be taking a walk, it could be TikTok binge, like mindlessly, it can be friends, whatever it is. I would say that's probably the one thing that I'm good at, is I take lots of downtime.
Mm.
I don't like being super busy all the time. I don't have kids, so I have that luxury. I think women that have kids have it way harder.
Yeah, I don't have any either. And also teach me how to do this. My schedule, I'm always like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And it's so important to sit down and take a breath. And it's pretty incredible that you're aware of that, that you need that, because as a whole, most of us are just like balls to the wall all the time, so busy, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta help somebody with this. It's like you said, it doesn't have to be a bubble bath or whatever, you could just read a book or have that time carved out for yourself, however that looks for you. So I love that advice, and I'm going to try and do that too. Need to try and slow things down sometimes.
Yeah, I remember you showing me your schedule when you were in school. And I
Oh
was like,
no.
oh my God, that is like next level. That I was very impressed because it's looks very helpful, but I was like, that's a bit overwhelming for me.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I'm a little bit sick today because I've been around my nephew. And part of that is the lack of sleep. And I've just been so busy with work and all this other stuff going on. So I love that you take that time. And I think that's something I'm even going to apply to my own life. And
Yeah, just schedule it into your little schedule. That's all.
yeah,
You don't have a
just
busy
time to
schedule,
block.
but schedule in the downtime too.
I love it. Yes, downtime as per Kelly. That's what I'm going to call it. Perfect. Well, we'll end on the last question. So, Kelly, what is some advice that you might give to other people, specifically women, to help them get through tough times they might have, or to help them stay inspired?
Uh, so one of the biggest things, one of the words when I think of myself and how I want to live is balance. So for me, what I want to say to other women is find your voice and speak out. And not just speak out for yourself, but speak out for other women whose voices aren't being heard. But you also do have to balance that with being quiet enough to listen as well. I am fierce on social media. As you know, I will fight anyone on the internet when it comes to certain things because I do have passions about women's health, women's rights, addiction issues. And I do feel that sexism is rampant. It's far more prevalent than racism, actually. I feel because 50% of our world are women.
Mhm.
And it's just now becoming more known that we still face these systemic and subconscious problems in life. And so I think going forward, women need to find their voice and make sure they're heard. Um, and we need to hold men accountable as well. And women need to be kind to themselves.
Yes.
And even that, we were just talking about that, how I'm not good at that.
Mhm.
Because I just, I always feel like I could be better or things like that. But like I said, yeah, like take the downtime for yourself as well. Don't give all of yourself away to other people. I think that's probably very hard for women with children as well, because that is the nature of being a mother.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Terrifying.
really, and there's the one thing that, and I didn't realize this until I was probably in my 40s. The one thing that the greatest thing my parents did for me is they instilled a sense of I really could do anything I wanted,
Mhm.
but I wasn't limited.
Yeah.
I wasn't limited because I was a girl. I could ride and hunt or be a fireman if I wanted to. And women should have those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 110%. And I love
Women
that message. Yeah,
women don't have to have a low paying job, stay home with kids, get
mm,
married.
no. You can do literally the world is your oyster, whatever you want to do. And if you can't do it where you're at, then either we need to revolt for change or you have to move. So I think that is some great advice. And yes, be kind to yourself. All of us could be a little kinder to ourselves because we are all so unique and so beautiful and brilliant. And we bring something to the table, even if it's not the same as somebody else. It's still an invaluable thing. So I love that. Thank you, Kelly, so much. Your insight on the show has been amazing. You're so inspiring. You're a hard worker, and you are an atypical woman. You don't have kids. You're badass. You work in multiple different areas. You have overcome so many hard things, and I truly thank you for coming on and trying to help me inspire and promote positivity to women all over the world.
I think I'll add, can I add that too? For the
Add.
for women telling women how to get by is don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the other thing. So part of, the addiction and the mental health issues, is being able to ask for help. And I recently was very ill with COVID, and it was astonishing to me how many people so it wasn't astonishing to me that so many people were giving, let me know if you need anything, let me know if you need anything. It was so hard to actually ask somebody,
Yeah.
because I was on quarantine. Can you bring me, cough syrup? Can you bring me orange juice? Like, I'm craving this or whatever. And so that's the other thing, women, I feel, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to tell people you're struggling, and don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's so true, especially right now. Like the fact you overcame COVID and are now back at work and doing all these incredible things is amazing. And I mean, we'll point out COVID is fucking real and get vaccinated.
Masks work, vaccines are safe, keep your social distance.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you for those parting words, Kelli. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Alrighty.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for asking.
Bye.